The Blue Beetle.
Hello, Jonathan. This is Archie.
Bring you the thrilling Dick Tracy detective adventures.
This week on the show, there's hormones in the water. We change our minds about some previous picks, and Teenie Howard is the shit. That and more on this week's Quick Flips. I'm Paula, and this is Brandon.
Hey.
And we are back with Quick Flips.
Yep.
Awesome. So
a little behind, but we're getting it done.
yeah, it's kind of hard to get back on track, but it's not as if we're not reading. So we've got plenty to talk about. In fact, we have to
we got to do a condensed episode despite trying to make it jam in as many books as we can here. So do you want to get right to it, or?
Yeah, let's start. Okay, what have you been reading?
I'm starting us off?
Yeah, let's go with you.
Okay, you know what? Let's start with Trust Fall, number 1.
Yeah, you said that was interesting.
Yeah, it's an aftershock book, and what made me pick it up was the writer Christopher Sabila, who wrote Shanghai Red, which I absolutely loved.
Yeah, no, you didn't talk about that one at all.
Yeah, and he also, what else has he done? He's done a bunch of stuff. He's done some DC work. He did. He's doing Crowded right now, which I know that you were looking at maybe starting to read.
Yeah, possibly.
That's why I picked it up. Basically, the gist of Trust Fall, it's a really simple concept, so I think I can do this one fast for a change, but pretty cool. Basically, there's a character named Ash, and she has the ability to teleport things. Okay, so she can teleport pretty much anything in the world except for herself.
Okay, cool.
So basically, or at least the implications of the title is that she then has to trust that someone's going to come and get her. So if she goes into a bank and teleports the vault out, then she's going to have to have someone come get her before she's arrested or what have you, right?
I see.
And basically, Ash, and it's exactly what I'm getting to. Ash is a good person, so she is kind of tricked, truthfully, by her family into believing that, the city, the state, the government in general, all police officers, all of these people are actually criminals. Oh. And she thinks that she's like a Robin Hood type character. She's probably late teens, early 20s. Right. But that's the other thing. She lives in complete seclusion. So until they send her out to do these tasks, they kind of have it framed around her being needed to be protected from the world because of her gift kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, she lives, 7 days a week in this locked room that has only access to certain channels, like a couple of cartoon channels and this sort of thing. And she has the same breakfast with no one. The only human interactions she has is with her siblings.
Yeah.
Which is basically when they come home from doing their unsavory deeds. Right.
So
they have a family dinner.
Are they also secluded?
No, she's the only one. She's the only one that has power. So they all know that they're doing bad things, except for her.
Interesting.
She believes
that criminals.
Exactly, and this family of criminals has brought themselves from zero to being so successful that they're now on the radar of a very prominent crime syndicate.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that's where the first issue kind of leaves us. I don't want to contextualize it too much, but because it's a really, really good book. It was a really, really, really fun read. And to be honest, it was kind of what I was hoping for when we last talked about Prodigy, which we're going to talk about later today. Yeah. Because it's wrapping up this week. It was what I was hoping for exactly, almost, ironically, out of the first issue of that. Now, I've since changed my opinion of Prodigy, which we'll get to later today. But this book, it sets up the world, it sets up the stakes, and it gets you invested, in one issue in a very strong way. There's no way that I'm not going to read issue 2. Like, there's no way that I'm not going to, because I'm so curious now. You know?
Of course.
The art is bizarro and out there. It's totally a book that you would love.
I was going to say, I'm like, I think I want to read this.
Yeah, it's so fucking cool. The character's cool. She does, like, every time she teleports something, she does, like, finger guns. And she's always listening to an iPod that she stole from someone that she teleported away.
That's awesome.
At one point. So she, it's quite funny. Like, every time that some guard or a police officer or something will be like, put your hands up, she'll have her headphones in, so it'll just show the text as like mumbles.
Yeah.
It won't be legible words.
That's awesome.
Until she pulls a headphone out, and then like it'll go like a squiggly line, and then get down on the floor, you know, like that kind of thing. It's really cool. But in any case, at the end of the first issue, Ash is going to have to make some hard choices about who she is, who her family is, and where she's going to take her life from here. The cover art is stellar. The color palette is brilliant.
Yeah.
And the story is absolutely captivating, which I can't say enough.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to check it out.
Book.
Cool.
Okay, so Trustfall #1 from Aftershock Comics, written by Christopher Sabila and Chris Vision is the artist and creator. Hassan Otsmain El How is the letterer. Chris Vision also did that wicked cover that I was showing you. And I really like this book.
Awesome.
I shouldn't say it's the first Aftershock book in a while that I've liked, because I do like a lot of Aftershock stuff, but it's the first one a little bit that surprised me. You know?
Yeah.
It completely subverted my expectations of it.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was going to be like gritty and really heavy. And then it was just a beautiful light read that somehow contextualized all of these dark concepts. And all the purples and everything. It's great.
Cool.
It's great.
Yeah.
What's up first for you?
Okay. So I had talked about wanting to read. Well, I can't remember which one of us decided or picked Thumbs last time. I think it was me.
Your pick, yeah.
So I ended up reading Thumbs. The first issue came out, and I wasn't really sure what to expect, because it seemed like something that has been written before in a way, like tech-obsessed teens. You know, we've heard a lot about that pretty often. So I went in with no expectations except for possible repetitive storylines. But
this seemed like it was they were building like a tech-fronted child army, and the children were being raised by apps and stuff like that.
Yes.
I read the preview for this. I haven't read the issue, but I read the preview and absolutely loved it.
The previous one did cool, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean like the 3 pages or 4 pages.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, so far, Thumbs is a person, seems to be the main character in this book, who's been injured during some sort of mission, which apparently he wasn't ready for, and like tactically was not up to where he should be. So he's been severely injured, and they put him in an induced coma. And that's really all that happens in this issue, except for showing us what kind of technology these people have in place. So massive screens where they've got like the body cam that replays, and they all kind of, criticize the person's actions, and did they make the right move? What should they have done? They call the older people old faces. Like, I need an old face, right? Which I thought was pretty cute. But yeah, it did grab me, even though not much happened. But because not too much happened, I'm dying to see where it goes. Like, I can't wait for the next one.
Sounds like they did a fair amount of world building, though. And I know, in what I read, they've really set the pace on what environment you're now in. So I think if you buy into the world, then it's easier to buy into the characters who are, at least in the solicitation text, they seem the main character definitely seems to be a little idiosyncratic. Yeah,
absolutely. But let's see how it plays out. It's either going to be a super dystopian book or not. I'm not sure.
Or not.
Or not. It's hard to say, because I can't tell if this is a happy world or not a happy world, right? Okay. Right now, because something awful's happened, you think it's like this dystopian future, but we don't really know what's going on. Like, why is there this teen army in the first place? Why are these people fighting? What are these missions for? Yeah,
you bring up an interesting point in that a lot of the times we take for granted that we read the solicitation text or see the previews of future issues and this sort of thing. And we don't put into context that sometimes they don't discuss the stuff that is in the solicitation text in the first issue of the book. You know? And that sometimes can be a problem because when you're talking about like a monthly release schedule, it's kind of hard sometimes, I find, to get into books until the second or third issue, which is like what I'm going to talk about with Prodigy today. Yeah. And it's funny that you're talking about the exact same phenomena with this book. Like, it looks beautiful. We were both really struck by the art. But I find it interesting that, I don't know, it's kind of like a writing chops thing, I guess, but I'm not going to knock this book because, you know, I haven't read it yet, but it's just an interesting observation, you know, that you almost don't have what you need to get the story going. Yeah,
it's true. So Thumbs is written by Hayden Sherman and the art is by Sean Lewis. And I think Brandon's going to pick it up as well. We're going to have to share this one, right? Cool.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a try. I really like the color palette. Okay, so seeing as I've been saying it this whole time, you want to take a look at Prodigy?
Yeah.
Okay. So Prodigy 6 wrapped up, I think it was the week of June 12th. Oh, not mistaken. At least it wrapped up the first arc. You know, now that I'm 6 issues in on this miniseries, I am hoping for more.
Yeah.
Initially, we talked about this book, and we praised Raphael Albuquerque and his amazing artwork because, you know, it goes without saying. You know, we made some jokes about Mark Miller being a sociopath, as I generally do, or potentially either the most empathetic person or the coldest person on the planet. We're not sure which. But now that I'm 6 issues into this, I see kind of like obviously the whole scope of his vision. And I went from hating Edison Crane to loving the character, which is also the journey that you want the reader to take. I still don't think that the first issue is perfect, you know, and I expect more out of someone of Mark Miller's reputation. The work, his portfolio is vastly too impressive to kind of pace a first issue of a book that would go on to be as good as this one is way, in my opinion. But again, Mark Miller doesn't give a shit what I think. The first one
should have grabbed you more.
No, I think that the first issue did all of the right things. I just think that...
When do you think it changed?
So yeah, we know about the first issue. We talked about the first issue. The second issue, I think that some of that material should have been in the first issue. I think this should have been a double-sized first issue and then 4 additional issues in the first volume. And I truly do believe that. And that's what I'm talking about, because if you take the first 2 issues together, that's a perfectly paced double-sized issue.
Yeah.
Like, it's brilliant. It's if you read issue 1 and 2 at the same time, it's pretty perfect for the story that he's telling.
Yeah.
Right? And Raphael Albuquerque is like... Mwah, like perfect. Like everything about this book, when you get into it, is like it's grabbing. It's very easily to invest in this world.
Yeah.
And this, you know, this was kind of a globe-trotting, super brainiac spy adventure. I can do it all, you know, kind of thing. And yes, there's no way to get around this. Character is incredibly pretentious or could come off that way. But it's the empathy in the character that works so well. Yeah. Which again is something we either joke about, you know, like either sociopath or the most empathetic person alive, and we don't know which one it is. This character is like that exact thing that we were joking about with Mark Miller last time that we were talking about this book. And you know, I don't want to go too much into detail because now that the book is kind of wrapped. Yeah, I think that people should read it, but let's go through a few key points. Okay. One thing that I really like is the amount of empathy in the character that they choose to stop the story in mid-motion and portray. Okay. Or convey, rather, to the audience. So they'll be in the middle of an action sequence, and then this, because they're all elite level, like obviously his kind of the person kind of riding along with him on this adventure, the person that's got him going on this whole adventure is a very capable pilot, very capable in combat and weapons training and all of these things. She's an elite CIA operative, but at the same time, she's not him. She's not like literally got 16 versions of himself working in his head at the same time, on different projects, which is some of the coolest scenes in the book, where you actually go into like, I guess kind of like a mind palace type thing, but instead of him having things in little, like a library kind of thing or something like that, there's literally a bunch of hymns in there all working on different shit that are talking to each other. And everything gets worked out. Every strand that's left, every single one gets worked out, which is brilliant. There's no throwaway bullshit. And you kind of think that early on it is. But, and reading the entire 6 issues, again, is why, because I'm rambling a little bit, so I'm sorry, is why those first 2 issues are perfect, But they stop the story mid-pace to have, so say for example, they're hanging off the side of a mountain, and these mercenaries, sorry, I couldn't think of the word mercenaries, are like have a gun to their heads, and they're like, giving their villain speech. And instead of, some great action sequence, that they could totally do, because that's what they do with this book, he just, Professor Crane, he just starts talking about like, look, man, I know how rough your childhood was, and your father wasn't in the picture, and your stepfather was a drunk, and he goes off on this whole thing. Yeah. It's like, but I'm here to tell you that you can do so much more with your life. And then they just kind of help him up, and then they take over. Yeah, he gives them jobs. Okay. And then later on in like the 4th issue, I think it is, he's got to collect a bunch of money to essentially pay ISIS to give him information. And at the same time, America is like has an airstrike on this town on the way. So he's like trying to. It creates this whole like race against the clock thing that's going on. But again, they stop the book at, maybe 6 pages in for this guy who you've never met in the book before, other than the conversation that you've had, which is or to deliver expository dialogue is the entire purpose of the conversation. And you have him then tell this character Rachel that, he found me when I was at this dark point, and we went to an island. He bought an island to take me there and like work out all my issues. And he stayed with me for 3 months and just talked all the time. And like now I work with him, and I'm so appreciative for everything he's done for me. And I don't know how he finds the time. And then he goes on to tell Rachel that everyone that works at his company is like this, at this like multi bajillion dollar company. Because that's the other thing. He does so much shit for free. Like he does all this, like all the nuclear, like fixing, he fixed like Russia's nuclear, fixes the efficiency of like their nuclear processes over the course of the book. And he's working with India on a similar project, and he does that all pro bono, because he makes so much money doing other stuff. Yeah. And like he spent in one issue, like he bribed everyone in the Kremlin except for like a high-ranking general. He spent like $500 million doing it, and he's just like, this better be worth it. Yeah. Which it wasn't. No. He got down there and they were missing what they needed. But it's in any case, the point is they do a great job of like paralleling this action and this all the like, oh, he's gonna get out of it, and that kind of like 90s action, like, oh, he's gonna be fine, he's gonna kill all the bad guys and get out. They contrast that really, really well with the empathy of the character, and so it actually works really, really well. And also that then recontextualizes that issue that we had with the first couple, or the first book specifically, where like, why did he need to both like perform the open heart surgery and do this and do that as a kid? But it was balancing some of those were examples of empathy rather than
Yeah.
examples of his, excellence, So it's quite interesting. The book is really good. The other thing that I really like about what Mark Miller did with these 6 issues is the last book isn't the finale. The last 2 issues. But it doesn't seem like it. Again, it's like it's skirted. So you think you're still ramping up the stakes, but then I realized that the stakes had actually stopped being raised much earlier, and I just can't read symbolism, or I just can't understand the amazing art of Raphael Albuquerque, obviously. So yeah, it's nice. It's a really fun book. It's really tastefully done. It's probably one of the things that I like most from Mark Miller in quite a while. I know he's got like 15 new books going, but including a number 1 coming out next week, right?
Yeah.
What's the deal with that? Something in space criminals or something. Space pirates, something like that.
Space pirates?
Something like that. But yeah, so Prodigy. This is the first time that we've actually come on and very loudly said I changed my mind about a book, and I'm gonna say it. I've changed my mind entirely about a book. It's a good book. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, credits page. I fell asleep there. So
I'm holding it up.
Yeah. So written by Mark Miller, obviously art by Raphael Albuquerque, colors is Marcello Maiolo, and letters by Peter Doherty. What's up next for you?
Man-eaters. So
Okay.
I went back and I went and read the last issue, and then I went back and I read through the issues, and oh my God, this is all over the place. Like it feels like a feminist teen magazine. Well, I'm saying teen magazine, but I know when I was a teen and I was reading feminist magazines that they weren't really geared towards teens, but it has that feel to it where it's like there's a story, but then it goes off to something else. And you almost feel like, you know how when you're watching a TV show, or back when we were kids, you'd be watching a TV show and like all of a sudden a commercial comes up and it just breaks your thought process. You're like really into a show and all of a sudden it's like, and blah, blah,
Nerf,
blah. Yeah. And then and then, it's over and then you're back in it. And that's what it's like to read these books. You're just all over. There's all kinds of mixed media happening, like actual photos, drawings, clippings. It's all over the fucking place. And it started off strong with the storyline, but like the storyline seems to just sort of be what gets you hooked, and then from there it just goes all over the place with all kinds of different messages. So yeah, it's really entertaining. In fact, the 8th issue, I believe, 8th issue? Yes, the 8th issue was just games. There were like cards you can cut out. There was role-playing games that, you could print out cards. This whole thing, which was really cool. But I mean, it sucks if you are reading them in sequence and you're at 7 and you want to know what happens. There's kind of a cliffhanger at 7. So you have to wait till 9 to see what happens.
I see. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've only read issue 1 and 2 at your behest.
Yeah.
And I love them. I really related to the daughter whose name I can't fucking remember for the life of me, but I really, really enjoyed those first issues. I loved all the propaganda garbage. I like this kind of thought process to a book, like just really examining a social taboo and being like, well, if it's so socially unspeakable, then let's ramp that up to 11. And you explained to me why this is in fact a taboo at all.
But they do and they don't. Like you want to avoid the young girls, you don't want them to menstruate because they could turn into panthers, and so they put hormones in the water to prevent this from happening, and then they market special water to boys.
Don't they do a test at the schools too? I seem to remember a letter going home in issue 1 or 2 where it's like a menstrual crisis has happened in the school or something like this.
Yeah, it's really strange. And so the parents will suspect that their kids might be either getting close or not drinking the water and drinking I think it's called the estro water or estro free or something that they market for boys. But like men are just terrified. I mean, It's nuts. It's
Not
pretty
unlike
cool.
the real world.
Yeah, but it's pretty funny. Like, it's a hyper pumped up version of reality, and it's really in your face. But like we said before, with a lot of things right now, things like Handmaid's Tale, which is something that's being compared to this, it's not something that couldn't happen. Like, the fear of women rising up by these weak men groups is an issue, is something that's actually happening. So as you read these comics and you see the fear and the way that these women are treated, like, they send them to this place that's supposed to be, they promote as being this like kind of like spa getaway type place where you can go, and once you do get your period, you know, you can go there and they can help you get better and get the panther out of you or whatever. But in reality, it's this like really scary prison looking place, and they don't say it, but the cure is a hysterectomy. And it's like all brainwashing and like just psychological abuse. Like, you know, one woman, they ask her if she's been menstruating or like if she's hormonal, because they found a trigger in her room or like a evidence in her room of a hormonal imbalance. And all it was is like, you know, there's like 2 items next to each other. Like, it's crazy. It's really fucked. It's great. I like it. Yeah. It's cool. Yeah. But it's a really good introduction into this whole world of just different feminist issues, right? So if you're like a 15-year-old and you're reading this comic book, you're going to be pissed off because it's outrageous. It's outrageous. But, you know, when you're older and you read it, you're like, yeah, world's fucked.
You know what angers me as a 33-year-old man about this book is that this book, like,
Aren't you 34 now?
Am I? No, I'm 33, aren't I?
Are you?
What? Who died?
Oh, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Oh,
I'm aging
it's
you.
2019, right?
Yeah, it
so
is.
I'm 33.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem.
Wow, that really threw me off.
I'm sorry.
What angers me as a 33-year-old man about this book. I feel as though this book should be satire by now. And it is not.
No, it's not.
And that is a really sad world to live in. Unfortunately, like, you know, I've said it before on both this show and on the main Exploding Earths feed. I've said it on Movies from My Life a million times before that. You know, I was raised by a single mom until I was, you know, almost 10. And she had to be both, you know, mom and dad. And I don't know. I've never once in my entire life felt insecure in my masculinity. I've felt insecure in pretty much every other way that you could feel possible. You know, my intelligence, my aesthetic, you know, my ability to do something. But yeah, it's
a mental state that you just don't share with these people.
Well, I don't even want to make it that simple, but I wish it could be more of just an enjoyable experience for those who need it, rather than such a, like, it feels like, to me, I feel like if a girl who's 15, like you said, walked into a comic shop, grabbed this book and walked to the counter, that there's a handful of shops that would be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, an eye roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. No, I agree. It made me want to dig out my old bitch magazine, you know, and just like, oh man, I remember reading that. This would have been cool to have. I want to send this back in time to like 15-year-old me and be like, check this out, right?
Yeah.
But no, I know what you mean. It's scary, really. But it's great. I'm enjoying it, even though it is kind of all over the place. That's kind of the charm about it.
Yeah.
I think that we expected it to be a little more structured.
I didn't, because sorry.
You didn't?
Did I cut you off? Is you talking about your feminist book? Man here.
Do you want to explain it for me?
Okay, yeah.
What you mean?
What Paula meant. Okay, so I didn't, because when I read through a lot of like reviews and different things on the book, and also interviews with the creators, it seems like a really familial vibe. And there's all these artists and creative minds working out. There's like 6 different people. So there's 2 main collaborators who knew each other from a Marvel book that they worked on.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were going to say their names?
No, I was going to say that. Yeah, Chelsea Kane and Kate Niemczyk.
Niemczyk, yes, that's right. Sorry. And then everyone else that works on it is seems to be from a different, and has joined the team since, because it's also a growing team to do variant covers and whatever other types of media, layout work, etc. They seem to be coming from different media backgrounds and kind of trying to take all of them and mash them into
it's
a
like
blender.
A big feminist collage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. That'd be a fun room to be in, talking to all these people and bouncing ideas off each other.
I just don't think that you have to identify yourself as a feminist to enjoy this book.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Honestly, if you weren't a fucking moron, then you could probably read this book as long and enjoy it, as long as, again, you weren't a closed-minded fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Because it's well written, it's interesting. The character development, it happens really quickly.
Yeah.
Which is a very good sign.
Yeah, it does.
So, I wouldn't even say this is a book for feminists because of the extreme visuals. I would say this is a book for not assholes.
The only reason that I said that was because it reminds me of the feel from the magazines that I grew up reading, right? Like Bitch Magazine, for example, right? Like it really feels like that.
You're absolutely not wrong. And that is the target demographic. I'm not questioning that. I'm just saying, I think that the book has even, I don't want to see it pigeonholed.
Yeah, of course not.
It doesn't need to be.
No.
It's a smart book. It's like people that went to see Rent in the 80s.
Yep.
And we're like, oh, I'm depressed. But yeah, we got to have a serious talk about AIDS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. No, it's good. Read it. It's pretty fun. I recommend it.
Yeah.
It's a good time. We did the credits, really. Like
yeah. Whatever. It's your call.
Yeah. Written by Chelsea Kane and the arts by Kate Niemczyk, and
a ton of awesome people.
Yeah. There was a new writer in the latest one that was brought in. A new contributor.
What Paula meant was that it was a new cover artist. The
new
variant
cover artist, yes.
Yeah, that B cover, that was baller.
Yes.
Yeah.
Either way, all the art's fucking awesome. Yeah. I love all these covers. I want them all up on the wall. As you know me, I like everything on the wall.
The interiors are really upbeat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For something so dark.
Yeah. Do I have something else to talk about today?
No. Oh. Well, we read a bunch of stuff.
I don't know. I can't remember what I was going to talk about.
I can segue into another book I read.
Okay, yeah, you go first.
Okay. I read Glow 2.
Yes.
I loved Glow. Like, when the show came out, I got into, looking into the background and the inspiration for it.
Yeah, you hear Gina Davis signed on for season 3.
That's awesome.
I'm so stoked for that.
That is very cool.
Hopefully she kills someone with a bow and arrow on the show.
Yeah. You want her to kill someone with a bow and arrow?
Well, not in real life. I don't want.
What is she actually doing on the show?
I don't know. I just know that she's like a world-class archer. So,
interesting.
And she's so fucking cool. Like A League of Their Own.
No.
When we did that sports tournament, which was kind of a botched sports tournament, but keep in mind that A League of Their Own, with an all-male, panel, ran the gamut of like 32 films.
Yeah.
And won that whole movie tournament.
Yeah.
On Mermal.
The movie's amazing.
It's great. Yeah. She's been in so much cool stuff. She's in The Fly.
I wonder what she's going to do. I could see her being like a coach or something. Well, like some sort of coach.
Aren't they bringing in elements of like a rivalry?
Yeah.
Some other...
Well, they're doing it in the comic.
Okay. Sorry.
Right?
Yeah. Let's talk about comics.
So they're doing it in the comic.
Oh, yeah.
They've gone to Las Vegas to expand on this whole world, right, of women's wrestling. And they're now up against these female wrestlers who are just tanks. Like, these are huge, beefy women that are just going to kick the shit out of them. They haven't fought yet, but like there's all these jokes about how they're going to die. And these other women that were already there hate the women of Glow because they see them as these like, they call them like 90-pound lingerie models. They're worried that they're going to have to pretend that they're injured because they can't actually get injured. So they keep basically making fun of them. Like, we're going to have to pretend that you hurt us. It's going to be ridiculous. Maybe you're used to acting like an idiot, but we don't, we're not actresses. We're actual wrestlers. And this is just going on and on and on. So, they're trying to make friends, whereas these other women are just like, get the hell out of here. Like, you shouldn't be here. I'm really hoping that it turns into something interesting. Like they get the shit kicked out of them.
Okay.
But,
yeah,
we'll see.
And they'll end up in traction for 3 issues of the book.
Yeah.
It's like we go back to our Justice League commentary from earlier. It's like Batman's in that fucking tank for like 4 issues.
Well, I feel like
it was great.
They're really building it up, and I know it's only been 2 issues, but they kind of came out for there was a long time between them, so you're kind of hanging. But I feel like I need something to happen and a little bit less.
Who's writing this?
This is being written by Tini Howard.
So that's why there was a big, because Tini is like the biggest, she's reading like a bajillion books on her exclusive Marvel deal.
Yeah.
And like, why she's in the news so much right now is because there's all these little sects of her fan club, like people who read this book and all of her, create her own, and smaller label stuff that are like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
What does she have to drop under this new Marvel exclusive contract?
Yeah.
So that's
why
it took so long, because she's had to do a lot of legal shit, work out all of this stuff with her new contract with Marvel, which fucking big ups, because Tini Howard can write a fucking book.
What did she was going to write? Like Hulk?
She is writing. Well, she's got a bunch of cool stuff on the go. She's doing Thanos book.
Oh,
I believe.
the Thanos. That's right.
She is. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think she's got a Thanos book out now, like a mini series. I heard about this other project that she wants to do. It's like bringing back in a bunch of like lesser known characters. She wants to do like some crazy shit with the Marvel Universe, and I'm totally down.
Yeah, like bring in a bunch of people and dig out a bunch of characters that you haven't heard about.
I'm totally down for this.
Cool.
I want to see what she does, because she has such a great pace to her work. It's like you're riding a fucking horse through a book. Like it's just you just fly through everything she writes. Sorry.
No, yeah, absolutely.
But that's why it took so long, I believe. Speculation.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I'm looking forward to the next one. So that will be one of my picks anyway. So
yeah, it's coming out. This one's coming a lot quicker. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Luckily. Yeah. Looking forward to it. Cool. Did you read anything else?
Yeah, I can't remember what I wanted to talk about, though.
It was Tini Howard and Hannah Templer that are working on this book, and the cover art for this one was Rebecca Natty. Yeah.
In any case, I can't find, I had a book that I specifically wanted to talk about, but now I'm literally ripping shit out from under my desk trying to find what book it was. I read the new number 1, the IDW Usagi Yojimbo, and it was like what you expect. Stan Sakai is still writing that book since forever. It's pretty good. But it's nothing super special, because they're just setting up a new story arc, a new kind of quest. And so, it's fun.
Yeah.
There's a puppet show in the middle of it. I don't know. It's a rabbit with a samurai sword. Fuck off. It's cool.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. What else? I don't know. I read the second Clue Candlestick. I'm a big fan of that book. I like anything Clue, so. But I'm not endorsing it. I'm not it's the greatest thing ever. It is really good though. So there was a bunch of stuff that I read, but nothing that I really need to get into. So if you want to go over to picks, I'm totally cool with that.
Okay, so our picks for next week. Do you want to go one and one, or do you want to just blurt them out?
Yes.
All right, so one and one.
Yeah, let's do one for one.
I already mentioned I want to read Glow 3.
Okay.
So you're up.
Okay, let's go with Goon number 3 from Albatross. Obviously, like when we talked about this book, I did not know that it was previously a book released by Dark Horse. And I've been kind of getting into some more of the old material. Been trying to get my hands on it. We just bought a collection that has some of these books in it, so I'll be reading those. Yeah, I really like Goon number 3 from Albatross, coming out I think next week. Yeah,
yeah, next week
on Wednesday.
Yep.
Okay, cool. This week as you're listening to it. This week
exactly. I am going to pick up the Weatherman Volume 2, Issue 1. We hadn't talked about Weatherman for a while, but I'd been reading it.
These covers look really cool.
I know. This book is just so fucking crazy. I'm really looking forward to it. It's I do want to get the trade paperback, though, for the first volume. Yeah. Although we have floppies for that. I know, but I like the book. I like having it all in one space, like one spot. So I think it's something I'm going to do. I'm going to pick up the trade paperback and then just pick up the actual issue for number 1.
Okay, for volume 2.
Yeah,
this
for
is
volume
becoming
2.
more common as well with these. It's a similar kind of thing to like She Could Fly, which you're also reading, as well as many of the Black Hammer books, like Black Hammer: Age of Doom, which is going to be one of my picks for next week. Did the same thing, but of course they did it satirically. But it's commentary on that very thing. But it's funny. Yeah. Cool. Dark Red number 4, I guess, will be my next pick. That's an Aftershock book. I've talked about the book before. This book isn't for me at all, and yet I find myself picking it up and reading it every single time. If you like vampires in the Midwest, or that idea, if you like light, breezy, fun reads that also have a little bit of horror, a little bit of adventure, and get you doing a little bit of that old thinking, then this is really a book for you. The art's fantastic, and it's a little gory, a little sexy, but all good. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I've got Ghost Tree 3. Let's see what Brant does. I know he's having this like weird relationship with a dead ex-girlfriend under a tree. So maybe he's going to live in the forest forever. Who knows? I don't know. Let's find out what happens.
Yeah. I've never been more excited about a book before I read it. Or before we did the show about it, and then you talked about it, and I still haven't read issue 1.
Yeah, I know.
Like, right? I was so excited about this book, and then you just completely deflated me.
I know,
so I really hope
sorry.
that we're not doing that for everybody else.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever. Okay, I'll take Road of Bones number 2. After we talked about it, I finished issue 1. I loved it. That's an IDW book, yeah?
Yeah, we're both going to probably read that one.
Yeah, for sure. Love that book. Can't wait to see where it goes from here. It's a perfect mix of prison and magic.
Yeah, prison magic. Yeah.
All right.
Woo,
folklore.
Nothing says magic like
murder
like
and
friggin'
folklore.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Cool.
All right. What's up next for you? I guess we're done. Do we both have 3 picks for this week?
Yeah, we
That's
did.
Cool. Okay.
Moving
so
on to
what
the
about
following
next week?
July.
Yeah, July 3rd is the Wednesday, I think.
Man-Eaters 10. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to see where this goes. There was it's kind of starting to hype up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's see what happens.
Sweet.
Secret shit. And sorry, I just got to mention, I thought it was pretty cute and funny, especially because I know so many people with daughters in the age group that buy American Girl dolls, but they kind of make a joke about how that's why they're so expensive. And if you're reading it, you'll laugh as well because you'll know why. They're very expensive. But yeah, it's got a transmitter in it. But anyhow.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's cool.
Sweet. It's a spy apparatus.
Yes, it is. Exactly. And that's why they're so fucking expensive.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to commingle 2 of my picks for this week. So both these books, I'm going to preface by saying, by saying I'm sorry that yet again I'm picking a Black Hammer book. Black Hammer Age of Doom number 11 comes out this week. And of course, I'm going to pick it. There's no, it's the main Black Hammer story. It started off everything. It's the second series within that story. And I don't think I really have to say any more. The second pick that I wanted to mention that I'm going to do together is the World of Black Hammer Encyclopedia one-shot. That's also coming out next week. When I was a kid, I used to love those, like, Marvel and DC, like, encyclopedia, all-encompassing. We got one of the big ones for the boys.
That was awesome.
Like the one that stretches out. It's like a big map of the Marvel Universe. So, I love those as a kid. It seems to kind of be that, and it's $3.99. So let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm Black Hammering hard on July 3rd.
Sweet. Okay, so thumbs 2. Really looking forward to seeing where this goes. I love the technology of big screens all over the walls, and it's got this weird like training facility vibes. So let's see what happens. I love the colors too. There's a lot of pink in it. Yeah. I think it was pink.
Yeah,
I'm remembering
it
as pink
and gray. It's really
exactly.
Cool.
Yeah,
I love the aesthetic of this book.
It's very cool. Yeah, so thumbs 2.
Okay, my last one is Sea of Stars, which is an image book. And okay, so actually, you were hunting at this one, or you were eyeballing this book
because
first.
The cover looks awesome.
It's funny because it's a co-written project between Jason Aaron and Dennis Hallam, formerly Dennis Hopeless. And Dennis Hallam did this series. I don't know if you know it, that I actually really liked. A lot of people gave it shit, but I don't care. About it was Corsair and a young Cyclops, as father and son, traveling around, getting into adventures together. Like essentially kind of regaining that time that Scott lost with his parents after the plane crash. And before, like, all the time that he would have been in, like, Mr. Sinister's orphanage kind of thing. And I love that idea of, like, these intergalactic adventures with father and son. Yeah. There's something about that whole, familial adventure sharing thing that totally gets me every time. Like, I'm such a fucking sucker for this shit in comics. It's not even funny. But, so the premise of this book is, seemingly, so Jason Aaron is obviously also writing, so like, sign me up, because it's like, if you told me that, like, hey, Jason Aaron is writing the description for the back of a box of Kleenex or something, I would be like, oh, okay,
get it.
Or buy it so I can find out how to use Kleenex properly, or in the most interesting way possible. Which obviously Kleenex is a trademark, so I should say facial tissue. Facial tissue, yes. But
or snot catchers, if you will.
What? That really threw me off.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No one says that.
I know.
So I got these two cats. They're working on this story that is basically a recently widowed intergalactic trucker. This guy who transports goods and whatnot across the universe decides that he will take his son with him on this journey, and obviously things are going to happen along the way. Maybe a little bit of, like, again, to borrow from like a Marvel book, maybe a little bit of Cosmic Ghost Rider in there, where he's like traveling around with baby Thanos chained to him like a backpack, or a baby carrier made out of chains. Maybe it'll be something like that. But like, I like this idea of, like, intergalactic transportation. It's a little bit Fifth Element, but so Sea of Stars from Image Comics is my last pick that I've now rambled on way too long about this week.
My last pick is Postal Deliverance 1, which is a sequel to Postal. If you haven't read it, go back and read that. It's a...
Got my boy Brian Hill writing this.
Yeah. It looks really awesome, and I think I'm going to enjoy it. But definitely go back and read Postal, which is, I believe, from last year.
Yeah.
And then check this out. I'll let you know how it goes.
Right on.
Cool. Those are all my picks. You're done with your picks?
Yeah, I kind of commingled the two, so I'm good.
Awesome. Sweet. We will be back with you in a couple weeks.
Yeah. little more sporadic. We're not going anywhere. It might not be every second Sunday, but we're getting our shit together.
We're getting our
There's
groove
so much
together.
stuff going on.
Yeah, there's
We're
a
trying
lot.
to get all of our new shows and everything worked out. And we're still working on the website. We've got huge plans for that. You're going to see happening hopefully in the next few months. So
We've added Pinterest. I'm always on it. So we're on there now. Look for us on Pinterest, Exploding Earths.
cool.
It's a really cool place to send us stuff, too. If you see articles, there's another way for you to send us links.
Yep. If you want to support the show, you can also check out our eBay as well as pick up some of our merch. All those links are available at explodingearths.com.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening. If you want to keep talking comics with us, visit explodingearths.com and reach out to us on Twitter and Instagram at Exploding Earths. You can subscribe to this and other Exploding Earths podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play Music, and any other podcatchers that you want to use so that you never have to miss an episode. And I'd really appreciate it if you'd leave us a rating and a review while you're there. It helps people find the show. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at lumpyface with an I instead of a Y. And you can reach us by email at quickflips@explodingearths.com. Send us your thoughts on the show, reading suggestions, reach out to us if you're an indie creator and would like us to take a look at your book. We'll see you in 2 Sundays from now with another edition of Quick Flips. Yeah, that's it. So, bye.
Flexible as silk, but stronger than steel. A delicious, nourishing breakfast.
Gentlemen, this is Dr. Reed Richards representing the Fantastic Four.
How do you do? I'm Dr. Bruce Banner.